Hey everyone, my name is David Dunbar, the theme park evangelist. I got some kitties behind me. I've got my dad's and I've got my brother's right over there. My dad's other cat is directly in front of me, but I'm not going to show her. Of course, all the cats are asleep right now. How fun is that, right? Anyway, now that I've taken care of a few things, I decided to come back and I'm going to do another discussion before I pull up my laptop and find out what chapter I'm on as far as the Life as a Working Disney Cast Member series. I wanted to discuss with you guys how traveling down to Central Florida again after moving up here to Northern Kentucky was such a beneficial thing for me. I must admit that there was some negative things that did happen that week, and I'm still fuming about it, but we're not going to talk about it. Because the more I talk about it, the angrier I seem to get. Anyway, so I'm going to point out the fact that when I left Central Florida, I basically left in this state. So I had just quit Publix on good terms. Everybody was really shocked to see me leave. I had just left my church. I had a very mixed reaction from the church as we left. And I had just quit Disney a few months prior. I had some bad experiences there as a former cast member. So it was kind of tough, I should say. It was kind of tough to leave. Got tongue tied there. And I was still Universal Pass holder at the time. And it was kind of around that time frame when Central Florida was still my home, and I wasn't 100% sure if I was ready to acknowledge another state being my home at the time. It was kind of one of those weird circumstances. I didn't know any friends in another state. I didn't know anything about Kentucky. I was kind of nervous. Everything I knew was there in Central Florida. So at the time, I was like, am I ready for this? I mean, when the Thursday came, which was the day that the new Hagrid ride opened, that was the day that we were loading up the pod. And I'm just basically thinking to myself, wow, in just a few days, we're going to be packing up this house completely and leaving. So we're going to fast forward a day. So the next night, maybe even a day and a half, I'm laying in my bed one last time. The best part about moving, as far as the moving the furniture goes, we didn't have to get rid of the beds. The beds stayed right where they were. The new people moving in, they wanted to keep the beds. I've actually had the privilege of meeting the new people. They're extremely nice, and they have taken great care of the house. This is the first house we've sold where the people that moved in have actually taken really good care of the house, and this is a huge blessing to me. I'm looking up at the ceiling and thinking to myself, wow, one night from today, I won't be sleeping in Central Florida anymore. I'm actually going to be. Well, actually, this was Thursday night. My bad. I'm going to be sleeping in a motel, so maybe I shouldn't fast forward a day. So we'll just pretend we're still back on Thursday. I keep forgetting. So yeah, Thursday night, I'm sleeping in my bed, and that's exactly what's running through my brain. Wow, I won't be living in Central Florida any longer. This is my last night. This is it. I didn't know what to think. It was kind of nerve-wracking, And then, of course, Friday morning came. This is why I'm getting confused, because it was a Saturday afternoon that we officially moved into Northern Kentucky. And Saturday night is when I slept in Northern Kentucky for my first night. I keep forgetting we stayed in a motel Friday night, so my apologies there. Anyway, Friday morning, we finished taking care of the last remaining stuff. Just going over the house, making sure everything was good to go. Getting the cats in the car, all that good stuff, or all in the cars. My bad. And making sure that the professionals who came to evaluate the house were cool with the house. And then from there, it was due north. And basically, what was running through my brain at the time, as I looked at the house, the empty house, I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is different. I've been living in this house for 15 years. I've been living in this city of Lake Wales for 15 years. My heart was very emotional. I was, period, just emotional. Everything I knew and loved, I was getting ready to leave behind after 15 years. This was it. It was just a very tough time. And so I got in the car and I just started driving north, and part of me didn't want to, but I knew I had to. It was just one of those circumstances, and I thought that I would handle it extremely well. And we stayed in a motel for the night, and then we got to Northern Kentucky the next night. And my first thoughts when I got to Northern Kentucky, it was a very different area to me. I've gotten used to it now, of course. It's been several months now. But when I first got here, it was a very different life. It was a busier life. Definitely not at all what I was used to. It's a lot faster paced environment around here. It's not an easy area to drive in, that's for sure, if you're not used to busy roads and all that fun stuff. And then, of course, I had the other fun privilege of trying to get used to learning the area and being right on top of I-75. And for a little while, that was very challenging. I was forced to rely on GPS even for the first month or so. I was very impressed how easy it was to find businesses. It was like, wow, like, where am I going to find a Chick-fil-A and all that good stuff around here? I was kind of scared and nervous when I first moved here. You know, that I just moved into a new area kind of feeling. That's exactly what I was feeling at the time. You know, when you don't know anything or anybody for that matter. And of course, the next day I went to Hebron Baptist Church for my first time. So this was a fun one too. I went to the church for my first time. Little did I realize how fast I was going to become friends with everybody several months later, and how deeply involved I was going to become, and the fact that I was going to become a member. I just love the church. And, you know, I'm just checking out this church, and it was a beautiful church. I still think it's a beautiful church. Everybody's so friendly there. I was surprised. Sorry, my hand is shaking. I'm trying to itch my finger. There, that's better. Like, everybody's so friendly, and the fact that they heavily rely on visuals so much. I'm trying to figure out the lyrics to a lot of the songs. Like, I don't recognize this song. I don't recognize this song. I don't recognize this song. And one thing I'll tell you about Hebron Baptist Church, once you've been going there for at least a month, you'll start to notice that we sing a lot of the same songs. A lot. And that's just something I've noticed. And you know what? In some ways, I like that because of the fact that it's one of those kind of homish kind of feelings. Like, I'm home. This is where I belong. This is what I'm used to. It's like Serve Church, my old church. We always sing a lot of the same songs too. We always did a lot of things the same way all the time. And in a lot of ways, I like originality, but I also like a lot of change too. Like, it depends on how change is thrown at me. Like, when I move, it's a little challenging or tough. I was trying to say challenging and tough at the same time. It almost came out as challenging. I don't know what I was trying to say. Like, what? Whatever. But I also remember there was this one guy I saw when I first came to the church, and that's when I first met Pastor Sean for the first time, who I believe is subscribed to this YouTube channel, but what do I remember? It might have been it might be his son for all I know. And there's this guy, he seemed to really like Pastor Sean, and he'd go up to him during the invitation and give him like three big hugs in a row. I was like, wow, they really are very welcoming here, aren't they? I mean, I personally have always thought of Hebron Baptist as a very welcoming church. My dad doesn't seem to think so, but I do, and that's just me. And it's very sad that my dad doesn't seem to completely agree that Hebron Baptist is not the most welcoming church. He didn't feel like they were very welcomed when he and my mom first came, and I have to disagree because I've always felt very welcomed since I've shown up, but maybe it's because I'm a young person, but what do I know? And as I got to know the area better, another thing I noticed when I first moved up here is like, wow, it rains a lot around here. It's like, does it I've always rain around here? It's like, what do I know though? And it seemed like the longer I moved lived up here, the more it seemed to rain around here. And also, I'm going to comment about how I found out about Meyer. I don't think I've ever talked about that. So I was trying to find a new job. I had just started at Kings Island back in late June. And I was kind of thinking to myself, well, I wonder if there's a grocery store around here I could work at since Answers in Genesis hasn't worked out just yet. So I kind of looked around and I was thinking to myself, well, maybe I can give all these a try since it hasn't worked out yet. Oh, there's my clothes. Cool. And I went over to Aldi's. I got there early in the morning. I believe on a Tuesday or a Thursday. It was one of those 2 days. And the manager was from like Germany or Russia. He had a very thick accent. And he was very nice to me. He gave me the impression he really liked me, but he still would have liked someone better. But I wasn't sure at the time. And I also knew I needed groceries. I don't believe I knew where Walmart was at the time. And I don't know what compelled me to go to Meijer, but I started heading home and I'm like, oh, here's a grocery store I've never seen before. I wonder what this is like. So I went in. I didn't have M-Perks at the time. I don't ever remember the cashier asking me if I had M-Perks. She wasn't one of the greatest cashiers that I knew, but then again, I have seen her a few times since I started working there, and I know why she probably didn't ask. It's because of the fact that she was an extra from the back, and they just happened to be really busy at the time. And this is something I've learned about that particular Meijer since I came in as a customer. But I can tell you this right now. I did hear about M Perks ever since Josh Southard and I came in, and I heard about it again in that particular store. And I was thinking to myself, oh, I wonder what M Perks is. But I never really did anything about it until I became an employee. I don't know why, but whatever. And I'm walking around this store. This is a really big store. I was quite impressed. And most impressive to me is the fact that I got as much stuff as I did for $30. I was like, dang, this is impressive. So I was thinking to myself, I really like this place. So I came back a few other times. And finally I decided, well, I like this place enough. I'm going to look them up online and see if they're even worth working for. So I looked them up. And I submitted an application. To my surprise, they asked me to come in. So I came in for an interview. I met this guy named Alan Harbin. Super, super nice guy. Still is. We're friends. I'm pretty much friends with all the management. There's one particular manager I'm not even sure if we're friends, but it doesn't matter. You're not really supposed to be friends with managers. But some managers, will be your friend no matter what, and some managers just see you as an employee and that's it, and that's just the way they are, and there's nothing you can do about it. So Alan comes over and meets me, and he takes me to his office, and we spoke for a good hour and a half, and the store manager at the time was not around. I don't remember why. I don't remember what day I came in. It might have been a Wednesday, probably why he wasn't around. And I met with the general merchandise manager instead. And he looked at my super long resume that I submitted. He loved it. I've been friends with this guy named Ed Blackshire since I met him, and he's a super cool guy. I can talk to him easily without any problems as well. And he was extremely impressed, and both of them basically decided to hire me on the spot. And I chose on my own to become a utility worker, car pusher, in other words. And that's what I did for a few months. And honestly, Meyer is still extremely happy that I made the decision that I did, and considering the fact that they can still use me in that position when needed to this day. So that ended up working it to their advantage. And a few months into my time with them, I became a cashier. Then they decided to train me on the liquor store. And then a few weeks later, they trained me on self-checkout. And that's honestly what I do in the majority of the time. Now, I won't deny that corporate is getting harder and harder on management. That's why the management's getting harder on us. That's why it's getting harder to work there. But honestly, even if I do end up leaving, at this point, I should say, I would never say that it was a bad job. In fact, it was by far one of the better jobs I've had. If I were to rank it on my favorite job list, Publix would still be number one, and Meyer would be number two. Like, I would say Meyer is actually a better job than Disney, which is ironic. And that's because Meyer did not discriminate me. In fact, Meyer has done anything but that. And the reason why Disney is slightly lower is because Disney unfortunately did discriminate me. I'm not saying the company itself, but one particular manager made a bad decision and made the company look bad. And I'm sorry about that. And these things happen. And I'm not going to really talk about it because that's very personal information. I don't really want to make Disney look bad if it comes down to it. But it is what it is, you know? And hopefully Answers in Genesis will become one of my favorite jobs I've ever had in my life. But, you know, I'm still young. I'm only 26. I still got plenty of life to live ahead if, you know, God allows it, of course. Because nobody is guaranteed tomorrow. That's what the Bible says, and I believe that. I know some people are, especially people my age, oh, I've got a whole life ahead of me. It's like, well, not necessarily. I lost a former coworker at the age of 27. Nobody saw it coming. He passed away last Thanksgiving. Very sad. And I actually felt attachment to this guy. And people, or my family specifically, was like, how could you be attached to someone you only knew for a few months? And you'd be surprised. This was one of the nicest guys I ever met in my life. Even though I only knew him for a few months, he was one of those guys you met you could never forget about. He was just like that. Like, I've met people, admire lots of people, and that store has a very high turnover rate. But John Lawson is one of those people you can never forget. You meet him, you never forget him. And I feel like I'd probably be one of those people too. Because ironically, as many people as I've seen come and go, most of the people there you could easily forget about, and that's the sad part. But it is what it is, you know? And I would say another huge thing about moving up here versus living in Central Florida, just dealing with the cooler weather. It's very different going outside and being forced to scrape ice and snow off your car, and being forced to let your car warm up for at least 5 minutes, or even looking at your window, oh, look, it's snowing outside. How unusual is that? It happens a few times a year, but it's not something that happens a lot, but it does happen from time to time. And it's something I'm still trying to get used to. So it's just one of those things. I would say another really big change for me has been the fact that there's no Disney around here. Hey, at least there's Kings Island. Kings Island's a pretty cool place. I wonder how cold my coffee is at this point. I'm gonna pick it up. Mm. Yeah, it could be better. But I was like, I've been rambling on for about 20 minutes or so. Probably should start drinking it, you know? Mm. But yeah, it's been a really nice being near a new theme park, especially since it's an older theme park, a year younger than Magic Kingdom. And it gives my YouTube channel some variety. So of course, I don't have the ability to go to the Central Florida theme parks as often as I used to. That doesn't mean I'm ever going to do it again. Of course, I'm going to do it again in the future. Why wouldn't I? It just doesn't happen as often as it used to. More or less, what I've determined in my brain since I've moved up here, there's going to be less Central Florida theme park videos, more Kings Island vlogs, more AIG vlogs. So like Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum. I also would like to take this opportunity to do really cool discussions. We can spend more time discussing stuff that's going on down in Central Florida. We can discuss really cool restaurants around here. That's one of the benefits about moving, because then you get new restaurants you've never heard about before. So I got that really cool benefit because I've already done one on Skyline Chili versus Gold Star Chili. Yes, I got cussed out for it, but hey, I did, and I thought it was worth it in the long run. I also got to show everybody what a Meyer looks like, and I used my store as an example. And I saw this as an opportunity to promote Meyer, and I thought that was really great. I also can show you guys other cool things that are here in northern Kentucky or just in Kentucky in general that you guys may not have never seen before. I've been informed there's probably a chance that we're going to get to do a few things this year as a family that I might get to use my YouTube channel to promote. Like, my dad is talking about taking us to see Disney on Ice for the first time. And that's actually getting ready to come up very soon. And honestly, that would be a cool thing to see. I would like to see that in person. Like, what? And I promise I don't have it on my YouTube channel, so I get that on my YouTube channel. That will help. And of course, you guys have already gotten to see a few of the really nice malls around here. So, of course, that's something I've never had before. I've never had really nice malls where I've lived because you would have had to drive all the way to Orlando. Considering I'm in the Cincinnati region, I don't have to drive that far to go anywhere nice. So, this is like a really big deal to me. It's like, oh, I'm not used to this, you know? It's like the people in Dry Ridge have to drive all the way to Florence just to see a Meyer or just to go to a really nice movie theater versus all the nice movie theaters are everywhere around here. Mm. Also, I should note that there's a high possibility that my family and I might be going to the National Fried Chicken Day festival or whatnot in Southern Kentucky. Now, that would be cool to see too. And vlog. There's also a very high possibility we might be going to Abraham Lincoln's birthplace. Now, that I would like to get on YouTube as well. I like history a lot, so if I could get that on YouTube, that would be super cool. I would still like to get the movie 1917 movie review done. That's something I would like to get done tonight as well. I keep forgetting about that. It's like, oh my goodness, how long has it been since I've seen that movie? And I don't think I've done it yet. I guess I just completely forgot about it. And of course, I just recently saw Birds of Prey, so now I got to do a movie review on that too. So, yay. I guess I got 2 movie reviews to do. But I still want to do the Life as a Working Disney Cast Member video first because that to me is more of a priority. The movie reviews are not as important to me, though I always love doing movie reviews. I'm also hoping to see Onward maybe next weekend. And of course, Lord willing, if I can get my very first Winter Jam on YouTube, which is this Saturday, whether I go with Danny, assuming that she can go, or she just doesn't want to be around me right now, or whether I might go with a friend from Bible study that I'm just trying to get to know better. Not that there's any potential of a relationship, especially since my I have feelings for somebody else right now. I'm not saying who, but the person I have feelings for is not from the Bible study, and that's about all I'm going to say right now. And I'm hoping that Danny is the one that I would like to take to Winter Jam because she's the one I'm trying to get to know better. And she's also a good friend of mine versus I am only just now getting to know the girl from Bible study, so you know how that is. But yeah, that would be really cool to get on YouTube as well, and I would personally love to see it in person and just be able to say, hey, I got to do it. It's off my bucket list now. Woohoo! But anyways, guys, this is almost becoming a 30-minute vlog. Oh my goodness, I did not realize that there was that much to talk about. Just the difference between living in Central Florida versus living in Northern Kentucky. There's always going to be a lot of changes. Always going to be a lot of changes. Well, I'm going to try to get a few more vlogs in tonight before I go and wash the dishes because I just decided to take that upon myself. And since I'm more awake tonight, maybe my brother and I can finally go and play Ultimate, tonight on the Switch. Because I would like to whip his butt on it. Anyways, guys, for those of you who held on all the way through this entire vlog, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.